Hey guys, Lord Naren White here, the Holy Ghost, the one true God, back with you with the next video in my series reading The Adventures of Tom Sawyer by Mark Twain. Without further ado, returning to The Adventures of Tom Sawyer as read by Lord Naren White. Well, try to recollect, can't you? Somehow, it seems to me that the wind blowed try harder, Tom. The wind did blow something, come. Tom pressed his fingers to his forehead, an anxious minute, and then said, I've got it now. It blowed the candle. Mercy on us. Go on, Tom, go on. And it seems to me that you said... Why, I believe that door... Go on, Tom! Just let me study a moment. Just a moment. Oh, yes. You said you believed the door was open. As I'm sitting here. I did, didn't I? Mary, go on. And then... Well, I won't be certain. But it seems like as if you made Sid go and... Well, what did I make him do, Tom? What did I make him do? You made him... You made him shut it. Well, for the land's sake. I never heard the beat of that in all my days. Don't tell me there ain't anything in dreams anymore. Serene Harper shall know of this before I'm an hour older. I'd like to see her get around this with her rubbish about superstition. Go on, Tom. Oh, it's all getting just as bright as day now. Next you said I weren't bad, only mischievous and harum-scarum, and not any more responsible than I think it was a cold or something. And so it was. Well, goodness gracious, go on, Tom. And then you began to cry. So I did. Not the first time neither. And then Mrs. Harper, she began to cry, and said Joe was just the same, and she wished she hadn't whipped him for taking cream when she'd throwed it out her own self. Tom! The Spirit was upon you. You was a prophesying. That's what you was doing. Land alive. Go on, Tom. Then Sid, he said, I don't think I said anything, said Sid. Yes, you did, Sid, said Mary. Shut your heads and let Tom go on. What did he say, Tom? He said, I think. He said he hoped I was better off where I was gone to. But if I'd been better sometimes, there. Did you hear that? It was his very own words. And you shut him up sharp. I lay there, I did. I did. There must have been an angel there. There was an angel there somewheres. And Mrs. Harper told about Joe scaring her with a firecracker. And you told about Peter and the painkiller, just as true as I live. And then there was a whole lot of talk about dragging the river for us and about having the funeral Sunday. And then you and old Mrs. Harper hugged and cried and she went. It happened just so. As sure as I'm a-sitting in these very tracks, Tom. You couldn't told it more like if you'd a seen it. And then what? Go on, Tom. Then I thought you'd prayed for me. And I could see you and hear every word you said. And you went to bed. And I was so sorry that I took and wrote on a piece of sycamore bark, we ain't dead, we are only off being pirates, and put it on the table by the candle. And then you looked so good, laying there asleep, that I thought I went and leaned over and kissed you on the lips. Did you, Tom? Did you? I just forgive you everything for that. And she seized the boy in a crushing embrace that made him feel like the guiltiest of villains. It was kind. Even though it was only a dream. Sorry, Sid. It was kind, even though it was only a dream, Sid soliloquied just audibly. Shut up, Sid. Shut up, Sid. A body does just the same in a dream as he'd do if he was awake. Here's a big millium apple. I've been saving for you, Tom. Tom, if you was ever found again, now go long to school. I'm thankful to the good God and Father of us all. I've got you back. That's a long-suffering and merciful to him that believe on him and keep his word. though goodness knows I'm unworthy of it. But if only the worthy ones got his blessings, and had his hand to help them over the rough places, there's few enough would smile here, or ever enter his rest when the long night comes. Go along, Sid, Mary, Tom, take yourselves off, you've hindered me long enough.
The children left for school, and the old lady to call on Mrs. Harper, and vanquish her realism with Tom's marvelous dream. Sid had better judgment than to utter the thought that was in his mind as he left the house. It was this:
Pretty thin, as long a dream as that, without any mistakes in it.
What a hero Tom would become now. He did not go skipping and prancing, but moved with a dignified swagger, as became a pirate who felt that the public eye was on him, and indeed it was. He tried not to seem to see the looks or hear the remarks as he passed along, but there were food and drink to him. Smaller boys than himself flocked at his heels, as proud to be seen with him and tolerated by him, as if he had been the drummer at the head of a procession, or the elephant leading into menagerie into town. Boys of his own size pretended not to know he had been away at all, but they were consuming with envy, nevertheless. They would have given anything to have that swarthy sun-tanned skin of his, and his glittering notoriety, and Tom would not have parted with either for a circus. At school, the children made so much of him and of Joe, and delivered such eloquent admiration from their eyes, that the two heroes were not long in becoming insufferably stuck up. They began to tell their adventures to hungry listeners, but they only began. It was not a thing likely to have an end, with their imaginations like theirs to furnish material. And finally, when they got out their pipes and went serenely puffing around, the very summit of glory was reached. Tom decided that he could be independent of Becky Thatcher now. Glory was sufficient. He would live for glory. Now that he was distinguished, maybe she would be wanting to make up. Well, let her. She should see that she could be as indifferent as some other people. Presently she arrived. Tom pretended not to see her. He moved away and joined a group of boys and girls and began to talk. Soon he observed that she was tripping gaily back and forth with flushed face and dancing eyes, pretending to be chasing schoolmates, and screaming with laughter as she made a capture. But he noticed that she always made her captures in his vicinity, and that she seemed to cast a conscious eye in his direction at such times too. It gratified all the vicious vanity that was in him, and so instead of winning him, it only set him up the more and made him the more diligent to avoid betraying that he knew she was about. Presently, she gave over skylarking and moved irresolutely about, sighing once or twice and glancing furtively and wistfully toward Tom. Then she observed that now Tom was talking more particularly to Amy Lawrence than to anyone else. She felt a sharp pang and grew disturbed and uneasy at once. She tried to go away, but her feet were treacherous and carried her to the group instead. She said to a girl almost at Tom's elbow with sham vivacity, "Why, Mary Austin, you bad girl, why didn't you come to Sunday school?" "I did come. Didn't you see me?" "Why, no. Did you? Where did you sit?" "I was in Miss Peters' class, where I always go. I saw you." "Did you? Why, it's funny I didn't see you. I wanted to tell you about the picnic." "Oh, that's jolly. Who's going to give it?" We'll go ahead and stop there for this week. As usual, I want to say thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed. Please like, comment, and subscribe, as it greatly helps the channel. Light be with you all. Take care, and thanks again.